Hey everybody, this is John Young from Cohort 7. I'm going to be covering off on the cross-sectional momentum strategy that I put together and is based off of research by Star Killer Capital. So the purpose of the video is I'm going to cover off on what the cross-sectional momentum strategy is, as well as the various pieces within Hummingbot that I created in order to get to the end state or close to end state that we're at. And if you or anyone wants to read up on a little bit more detailed information, if we go to the submission, the design section, I'm the cross-sectional momentum piece right here. So this will have all the goal, hypothesis, description, and other items if you want to get a deeper view into it. What I'm going to do is cover off on the code here. And so the code is made up of three main pieces. The first one being a rebalance executor, the second piece being a EMA crossover controller, and then the third one being the actual cross-sectional momentum controller that will utilize the EMA crossover and executor, rebalance executor under the hood. So the first piece here, the rebalance executor, is pretty straightforward. What the executor will do is it will take in target weights that the user has specified. So this will be a combination of assets as well as the weight that we want them to go to, and then a quote asset. So let's use the example of USD as quote asset, and let's say the rebalance executor was sent asset of ETH at 0.2, which means we want 20% of our quote asset USD in ETH, Bitcoin at 0.2 as well, so it'd be 20% Bitcoin, and then, let's say 60% in XRP. Then what the rebalance executor will do is take in the weights, take in the quote asset, and then it will work through and calculate rebalance actions that are needed in order to get the proper rebalancing within the portfolio. So this will handle and especially in the control task here, this will handle the sell actions, the buy actions. It will wait for the sell actions to complete first before it goes forward with the buying actions, since it will use the sell quote amounts in order to complete the buy tasks, and then it will go through the entire life cycle of the full rebalance, as well as in handling failures, which since we are handling multiple different orders here, there is a higher tendency for failure. So there's a couple of strategies we have in place in order to handle those failures. The next piece is the EMA crossover. So this one is pretty simple. It's similar to some of the other directional controllers that have been built, but the goal of this one is to take in a fast exponential moving average, a slow exponential moving average. Both of these are the periods, so in this case I have a 5 and a 50, and then what it will do for the signal is it will attempt to add the EMA fast and slow to the data frame, and then the get signal will compare that there has been a cross, whether that cross has been up, and if the cross has been, for example, the 5 above the 50, then it will generate a buy condition. If it's a 5 below the 50, it will generate a sell condition. And this will be updating the process data in each of the ticks, so that subsequently when we want to go to the final piece, which is our cross momentum with trend overlay, this will inherit from the EMA crossover controller and the controller config, and then we'll add in the different parameters of the rebalancing that we want to see, as well as the population of assets that we will go to rebalance into. So quote asset, what we want our rebalance quote to be calculated in. An additional quote weight if we don't want to use a full 100% of the quote asset. So let's say we put in 5, that means that we'll use 95% of the quote asset. In the case of USD, if we have $100, we will only use $95 of it. We have a minimum order amount to rebalance, so this can make sure that we're not sending in orders that are too small or if we have very small amounts of certain assets that we can ignore those within the rebalance. Screener assets. Now this is provided by the user. Eventually in the future, we'll want to be able to calculate this on the fly. But as it stands right here, we have default screener assets. We have a screener interval, so all of the screener assets will go into candles data, and then we have an interval for all of them that we can compare against. So for here, we also have a look back period, and what this is doing is ranking the assets by their percent returns over the interval and look back period. So if we have all of our screener assets at a 1 hour interval, we'll look back at 5 hours worth of data and we'll rank the assets by their percent return. The goal here being that assets that have been trending higher have a tendency to continue to trend higher. So we want to get the top earning assets over that period so that we can include those into our screener universe, or can actually include those into our target assets. So I'm going to do a quick launch here. Now I have a test mode set on the EMA crossover. So what this will do is I have it set to always rebalance, just so we can see on this video an actual rebalance live. So what that will do is it'll always send a 1 signal no matter what. And then the rebalancer will initiate the rebalance, and then we'll also activate a cooldown period so that we just don't keep rebalancing over and over again. So it will do 1 rebalance, and then it will sit for 100 seconds or so, just so we can see the rebalance. So I'll go ahead and launch it here, and let's see if we can get a nice little showcase going. This guy out of the way. Need to cross. So the initial piece here will actually get the order books of all of the screener assets that were specified in. So as that's going, what I actually want to show is my Kraken account. So what we should see here is a flood of orders come through because it will do a rebalance. So we'll see if that is actually the case. Nope, that's right. We had a, let me take off this breakpoint here, and I'll do that, and then quickly go back here. So we should see, here we go. Here's all our orders getting executed. And so what we actually saw happen, if we go to our portfolio and go to our balances, this actually did a full rebalance at a 95% of cash. So you can see it chose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these assets to put into. And then if we go to our ledger, and actually let me stop the strategy just in case. Here, I'll put this breakpoint back on. And then you can see in our history, in our closed orders, we just did all of these guys right here. So it looks like we sold ADA, Near, AVAX, and ETH, and then bought XMR, Render, Doge, and USDC. So it completed a full 4 and 4. It looks like we may have had an existing one in there. And yeah, so that is the cross-sectional momentum demo, where its purpose is to rebalance the portfolio into top earning assets based on a user specified period. The Starkiller Capital example was based on a 5-day SMA crossing a 50-day, I'm sorry, EMA, 5-day EMA crossing a 50-day EMA, and then utilizing a look back period of 30 days for momentum cryptocurrencies. So in this one, I wanted to do very small intervals so I could show you how the rebalancing itself was actually working. And yeah, so if you have any questions, most of the information will be in the strategy design piece that I showed. And then I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. So thank you.